Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of the HKGAGPodcast. It is Pride Month, which means that, of course, we're going to be talking about LGBT, specifically in Hong Kong. And today I have with me here Zoe and Chillis. So you guys want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Zoe, Cardo's least favorite person in the entire server.
That's not true. Actually, that's
I
true.
am I am
No,
Chili's Zoe's favorite person.
that's not true.
No, it
That's
is true. It's partly.
but anyways, so do you guys? So yeah. First of all, I just want to ask, how did you what was your first interaction with LGBT in general, having grown up here in Hong Kong? If you want to share.
I don't really remember. It was either like online, like fandom stuff, like ships, or it was like somewhere in a poster or something. I don't remember. It existed like third grade.
What about you, Chili?
Um,
Oh, sorry.
do you mean like in Hong Kong or just like the whole community in general?
I guess the whole community in general.
Same with Zoe, I guess. Like it was online, but like it was through like some books I was reading at the time, I think.
Yeah, I think there's like, because LGBT, obviously LGBT isn't very well accepted in Hong Kong, or not very visible, even if things have improved in the last few years.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest struggle for people who are LGBT in Hong Kong right now?
Probably
Mm,
like the lack of awareness in general, like the taboo-ness of talking about it. They're not even like discriminating against it vocally. They're just like they don't exist, or they treat it as something like taboo or something that like as a joke or something that doesn't exist, like mythology.
Yeah, that's what I've seen a lot too. Sorry.
no. I think like I agree. And like it's mostly like more conservative views, which is like unfortunately really popular in Hong Kong because like there's a lot of people with like rather bigoted or narrow-minded views who discriminate against this kind of community.
Yeah, I think it's just like you said, so a lack of awareness or like taboo, and like even within like the LGBT community, there's like some topics like non-binary and gender fluids that aren't as commonly known compared to something like gay or lesbian relationships. Even then, so
Like no, like the sexuality other than like gay or lesbian just rarely gets talked about. Like not even like binary trans people. Like it's literally just the gay and lesbian part, and that's kind of it. Not a lot of world.
Yeah.
I think it's just something I noticed over time, how some parts of the LGBT community aren't as well known in Hong Kong as others, whereas in like the West they may be more well known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
like I think like what's sad, like the saddest part is that even within the larger community, like there are some marginalized groups that don't get the representation or like they are really controversial, like even amongst a bigger community as a whole.
yeah, like I mentioned this on like the like last year's episode of the old podcast, but I said how things like FTM transgender aren't as like well known as MTF transgender, and I also spoke about how not sure if this was in the last episode, like
Oh
in
yeah,
the
no,
last Pride Month
that's
episode, or um sorry on a different episode altogether, but it was just about how for example in films and books, gay relationships are often the most represented out of the LGBT in Hong Kong, and it's
Mm,
just you know like there's a
yeah.
lot of people probably don't know about asexuality and stuff.
no, like
Yeah,
the thing about like the MTF trans is definitely a thing. Like people see like a masculine to feminine thing, like they see it as a lot more impossible. It's kind of like yeah, that part of the community doesn't get as much visibility as the other side does.
yeah.
Wait, sorry, is it a bit loud?
Pardon? Sorry, you're cutting out.
Sorry. It's okay. Sorry. Never.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Anyways, well, so if you want to share, what is it like being someone that's LGBT in Hong Kong right now, like a student who's LGBT?
I mean, like it's just kind of it's never like actually been that big of a part of my life, like outwardly, I guess, because you know I'm so young, so like. But there is like a lot of casual queer phobia, like even within my class, even within like it's not just like straight up like people still see it as like alien, like certain people.
Hmm. So what
Mm,
can be done to kind of like combat this in a way?
Probably like more like actual education and just not being a stigmatized thing in general. Like more representation will definitely normalize it. I think normalizing it is a huge part of what we need to do.
Yeah, and I think just that I don't think like you guys said that you learned it from online, and I think I can say the same for myself. But it shouldn't have to be something that you just figure out online, and it should be something that's at least aware. You should be aware that what it is and how to respect it. And
I mean,
like
like in an ideal future, it would just be like just as normal as straight relationships, like there being equal amount of representation. You know,
yeah,
like nothing is actually a
yeah.
default.
yeah, like
I think like the worst part of like the whole thing is that how like LGBT things are like jokes amongst like certain like school age children or like kids in general because like they use it to laugh and like poke fun and that's like something that's really horrible in our community, I guess.
it's just fucked. Yeah, just
Well,
I
you
just
won't exactly like see people saying it's wrong, but like sometimes people will just treat it as like something weird or like, oh my god, you're gay.
Yeah.
Okay, oh my god.
And like they just go like I don't know, like it's maybe it's just my experience, but like a lot of people just are like that's okay, like it's an insult at our like in school aged
Yeah,
teens, I
definitely.
guess.
yeah, I just it like you said, it just contributes to this lack of awareness. I guess to
Yeah.
an extent, like possibly culture with like Chinese culture to an extent, I should say.
I
But
think there's definitely an overlap between like minority culture, like what was it? Negative correlation overlap between minority culture than LGBTQI awareness because a lot of them like tend to be, including Asian culture, tend to be a lot more conservative.
yeah, like, Asia in
Yeah.
general is very conservative towards these things for LGBT rights, and
Hmm.
like even in Taiwan with like L, which is surprisingly a country in Asia that has LG that actually allows gay marriage. Even then, there's still a stigma. But again, I don't want to try to discredit what is done in Taiwan. I'm just saying that there are still these issues. Even if, yeah, of course, that's a good thing, obviously, but you can do a lot better than that. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think that in like the last few years, what do you think has? What do you think that the knowledge of like the LGBT community has improved, or has it, has it gone worse? Like, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I don't have a very wide perspective on this, but like, I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
it's just kind of remained the same in general.
yeah. Like personally, this is gonna be my bias, but I think there's been some positive improvements in terms like you got groups like Quarks HK that come up and QSAHK that are kind of like formed in the last couple of years or so. And honestly, that's undeniably great to see representation in our community just coming to light.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm,
That's definitely is a good thing.
Yeah,
there's definitely more change now, but like one thing is that it's like it's a really slow change because like the most
yeah,
open-minded or most accepting people are still like not like maybe not all of them are like adults yet, I guess. Like teens or like older teens are like probably the most like knowledgeable or open-minded towards different like communities as a whole.
yeah. I can definitely relate to that because like there are still like older allies or like older people who are LGBT, but largely and more recently, like culture around LGBT in Hong Kong has arisen from the youth.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you guys. Sorry, it's kind of funny how things to say, but yeah, I don't know how. But what do you think is something that would say is the biggest issue
Yeah.
for LGBT? Did I say that already? I'm not sure. Wait, hello? Hello?
Zoe Stefford, I think.
Oh shit. Oh, this is going. No, do you have any topics to say? Because I can just talk about something else that's LGBT related.
Sure. I don't really mind.
Yeah.
Oh, Zoe's back.
Oh, anyways, what was I gonna say? I think like I said earlier, the culture with it's it it's definitely something
Mm-hmm.
that you know is regarded as taboo, and generally even within the LGBT community, there are still you know as I mentioned earlier, things
Yeah.
gender fluid and asexuality, which are very
Mm-hmm.
and I guess you could say that those stereotypes of of the LGBT community are very very prevalent in Hong Kong, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not.
Especially like, yeah.
Hi, Joe's back. Anyways, what are you saying again, Chili's?
Oh no, I was saying like it's especially like the little things that integrate it into like our daily lives, like jokes that are like just like insulting in like a really subtle way. Those are like the most harmful of like all.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Uh, like, I think a lot of people are saying, but I think again, I think one of the biggest issues is, well, not really one of the biggest issues, but an issue that I think is that a lot of people are thinking this is very unique to Hong Kong, but I think it's really just an Asian-wide problem that people from
Mhm.
all these different countries need to come together and try and eradicate this taboo against the LGBT community.
My mind is like so much an Asian problem as in like America is just the most default or generalized like area we see, and like other countries other than the America or the UK are just not as accepting or progressive
Yeah,
in terms of just human rights and representation in general.
Mhm. Yeah. Mm.
yeah, but I think one of the biggest another thing I want to say, sorry, is that I think a lot of people say that oh, there's no LGBT representation in Hong Kong, and I think while it does show how bigoted Hong Kong society can be towards the LGBT community. At the
Yeah.
same time, like I mentioned this before, it kind of discredits the work done by actual LGBT advocacy groups who, despite the national security law, have remained in Hong Kong and are still advocating and growing. And I think it is important to not only just fight against the bigotry that we see in Hong Kong, but also to also accept and recognize the work being done by people to stop this bigotry.
I mean, yeah, but like it doesn't like there is work being done, but it does not change like the
Yeah,
status. Yeah, like there is like very little change being made. You know what I mean?
yeah, I get what you mean. Like on the government level, definitely there's going to be a lot of change. But
Yeah, but like it's the
or
small changes that matter.
yeah, I think like a lot of people this was definitely prevalent with the protest. Like a lot of people were expected to succeed right away, and you can't just you can't go ahead and just demand and just how to say this you can't just go ahead and expect change to happen right away. Like it's something that takes generations. Something that takes well not generations, but a long ass time. I guess you'd say, especially for a conservative place like Hong Kong. Sorry. Can you
Yeah.
hear me? Yeah. All right. Do you guys have anything you guys want to add to that statement, or do you want to move on to a different topic?
Yeah, we can change. Oh my.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you been to any LGBT related events before?
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to a
unfortunately not.
musical before.
Oh, nice. I should say, have you been to an LGBT event in Hong Kong? Like, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really very obviously one, but like it was a musical that I went to. It wasn't a really big one. It was like a smaller scale one, but it was one that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about you, Zoe?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
no, unfortunately not. I considered going to like the Pride Bazaar thing, but I had like homework and studying to do, which is
Rip.
just very transphobic at the school.
It is not. Oh my. Oh yeah.
No, it is
I
transphobic.
Yeah, I haven't been to an LGBT related event myself, but I know there have been a few this month as we're recording this. Like you mentioned the Pride Bazaar.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that shit like that is generally just probably one of the best things the LGBT community can come together and do. It's just kind of like just establishes their visibility and promotes, promotes more how should I say this? What's the word? Sorry, more
Where?
accepting analogies, more accepting social attitudes. Sorry, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak today. Um,
The only piece of Pride merch I have is the one trans flag sticker Chili's gave me.
yeah.
I didn't even know it was one until like I saw it randomly a few days ago, like a few weeks ago.
Mm.
So like
Yeah,
I
I
guess
didn't
we're all
really have.
learning a lot.
Yeah, I think. I mean, like when it first. Wait, I should ask this first. What were your feelings when you first found out about LGBT in general? Like, what were your reactions? What did you think of it, and how did you slowly kind of like, if you feel comfortable talking, that is, like you don't have to answer if you don't want
Was
to.
actually pretty supportive from the start. Like my original impression was like, oh, they exist. It, yeah, that's a thing, I guess. But like, yeah, and then I got more on the internet and just like, yeah, I got more supportive. You know,
Yeah. What about you,
like
Chase?
It was never really like anything that was like strange to me, I guess. Like at first I didn't really think I was part of this community, but like Zoe said, it was like the more I the more I discovered like about the community and like different labels, like the more it felt like familiar. So like it wasn't really something that was like strange to me, I guess.
Yeah. I think I found out about it when I was like 12 or 14. Kind of like hearing from friends, and I was like, oh, I guess this exists, anyways.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
like that.
believe the internet existed when you were 15.
Yeah. Like as much as some people joke that I'm like 1900, I'm not. When I was 11, 12, which is like a couple years ago, yeah, that's when I kind of found out. Really only just kind of identify. So only recently started identifying myself as like, not cis, I guess. No, not cis, not straight. I should say. I don't know what I'm saying. Um,
Ordo comes out.
no, no, like pansexual, polysexual. It's kind of like both terms. That makes
Okay,
sense.
but is it 1900 or 1900?
None of those.
19,000.
This is panphobia.
Okay.
19,000 or 900? Oh my God.
19, you little shits.
See, this is why Chili is definitely not straight. Like, she can't do math.
I am so good with math. Like real?
Oh my god. No, yeah, I think similar to a lot. I think, yeah. If you feel comfortable answering, do you know a lot of people like that are LGBT in Hong Kong, like outside, like if you can count the internet or like outside the internet?
But what do you say? Sorry.
What if I don't go enough? Like what if I don't go out enough?
On the internet, have you met a lot of people in Hong Kong who happen to be LGBT? Like,
I think this
Oh yeah,
community,
definitely.
wait, yeah, do you guys want to speak?
no, you can go. No.
So like, yeah, no, I've seen a lot of people in my school that are like openly like queer, I guess, which is good. Like
That's
through
it.
online things.
I don't know. I don't know a lot. I think like online, obviously, but not from Hong Kong.
Like I know a good deal of people. I don't know a lot of people who are in real life who are LGBT. Like I know a couple, but not a lot. But online, like example, especially in this server, like A52R,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, a lot of my friends just like turned out to be LGBTQ or realized it after I knew them for a few years.
Let's just say that I think a good deal of the server is queer, like LGBT.
Yeah.
There's fruit everywhere you look.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like, again, what I said about the youth kind of like being the most accepting with LGBT shit. Yeah. No, it's just. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about related to the LGBT community?
I think we've pretty much covered a lot.
Mm. All right. So, oh, we don't really have much to talk about LGBT. This is going to be such a short episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Question: Have you faced any? If you guys want to answer, have you faced any like full on discrimination in Hong Kong? Like not just things like people saying, that's so gay as a joke or something like that.
Oh yeah.
To go on.
Like not exactly to me, but like just like in a school setting, it's like it's really common for people to just say things like these offhandedly, like whether they mean it or not. But like I feel like most of like the students are pretty much open and like pretty accepting.
Like yeah, same. Not personally, but like just like casual discrimination. And I know at least 3 people who have just straight up said a slur, which is not it's not exactly the best thing.
Yeah, like I think it's just kind of like the jokes, they get attack helicopter and the many acronyms, like those are by
Yeah.
far not be to Hong Kong, but yeah,
Um,
yeah. I just feel. Do you guys want to wrap up the podcast now? Because we don't
sure,
really
Oh my
have.
god.
sure.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Sorry for probably what's going to be the shortest episode yet. We'll see you next time, and goodbye.